Well, we've just been for a little walk with Gento, and we're gathering the first wild herbs like the nettles, wild onion, watercress, dandelion. This is called a Taubnessel. Taub means deaf, and the reason it's got that name is because it doesn't sting, whereas the normal nettle of course stings when you brush against those hairs. And then the watercress, where we said, full of vitamin C. The violets, absolutely loaded with good things. I mean, all those herbs. Cleavers over here, and primrose. Basically, that's a whole medicine chest right there. If you can eat some of this every day, fresh out of the forest or the meadow or in front of your house or apartment building. Amazingly, weeds often grow in the least favorable places, sort of fringe places. The last few days we've seen very dramatic videos of army trucks transporting out deceased bodies from Bergamo in Italy. 5G was introduced in Bergamo last December, one of the first cities in Italy, together with Milano and some other cities. The first 2 weeks of March, there has been 104 additional deaths in Bergamo compared to 2019, 104. Of those 104, 70% of the people who died was not related to coronavirus at all. But further than that, I just read today a report from Bloomberg. Well, normally I don't like that much, but it was specifically about how many percent of the people who supposedly have died of coronavirus have had other underlying illnesses. And it's clearly documented that 99% of cases, the people, mainly elderly, I think the average age is 79.5 years, 99% of the people who died of coronavirus had other underlying illnesses. Only 1% actually died from coronavirus only. So when you take the 3,000 people who died in Italy, there would be 30 people who have died only through coronavirus, 30. So, and in the same time, 26,000 people, 26,000 have died of influenza in Italy during the flu season, which started in October in 2019. So we have to really look at things realistically and not just from panic and fear. Fear reduces our immune system. Rudolf Steiner was absolutely convinced that every time we're upping the electromagnetic field, we are harming our cells. Some cells get sick, some cells even die, and that a virus is really an excretion of the biological body of those dead cells. So the body is cleansing itself from having been poisoned and harmed through electromagnetic radiation. Rudolf Steiner said this in 1918 when the Spanish flu broke out. I think it was actually late 1917. The Spanish flu resulted in a third of the world being affected and 50 million deaths. He said that this was the result of the introduction of radio waves. Another epidemic was in the 1960s after the introduction of radar. And now we have introduction of 5G, which goes beyond anything we've ever seen, anything our bodies have ever experienced. There's thousands of scientists, doctors warning against 5G, and yet in many places it's gone full steam ahead. Switzerland, 150 places. Italy, about 150 places. But there's some resistance, and thankfully in Switzerland, the radiation level has not been increased from what it was under 4G, which is good. Doctors in Geneva and Lausanne have warned immediately after 5G was introduced of a large sum of people coming to their medical practices with flu-like symptoms after the introduction of 5G. So 5G is very destructive energy, in my opinion, completely unnecessary unless we want to live in an artificial intelligence controlled world. I don't want to do that. Of course, my main work is really helping people to look at the truth in themselves. You know, if we carry hurt, sadness, anger from unhealed, untransformed experiences in this life, absolutely, certainly we are reducing the capacity of our immune system. So it's not just external influences on us, whether that's pollution or radiation or bad water or aluminium, because Thomas Owen, he was the vice president of the anthroposophical doctors in America. He's just given a presentation. There's a 10-minute video on my timeline, Juerg Robert, Dream Turner on Facebook, where he said that one of his patients was very healthy, was an athlete. Then he broke a limb and he had to have an aluminium part implanted in his body. And after that he was severely sick, affected by radiation. You know, as always, we look at a problem on a sort of a minute level. We don't actually look at the bigger picture. So 99% of people who died from coronavirus in Italy have had other underlying illnesses. You know, I would go further and say, well, what is the core reason for that underlying illness? For example, asthma. I relate to not having the space to breathe when you were a child. Various types of cancer, very, very specific. We have produced a 48-minute video, what would I do if I had cancer? And it's not just about cancer, it's basically about the immune system, it's about cleansing, it's about also doing our own inner healing work, which I believe is the most important. I believe that if we do this inner work, if we drink some healthy water, healthy food, ideally wild herbs as we do, which are incredibly valuable for us, both nutritionally and from a medicine healing point of view, like dandelion, nettles, primroses, watercress, and many, many others. Very valuable for us. They're available free if we are able to access a bit of meadow or forest, or often they even grow in really not very good pieces of land. They're amazing. They've been around for like 600 million years. And I believe it's time that we get to know them again, as many of our ancestors have for many thousands of years. So, and beyond the herbs and the water and healthy food and being in nature and doing our inner work, of course also not to be sucked in by the mass media into this absolute frenzy and panic and fear, which again very much affects our immune system. I feel really sorry and a lot of compassion for those elderly people who are laying in those beds in hospitals, one next to each other with masks on, with the whole staff being almost looks like on the moon with equipment, and of course understandably so, because they're very vulnerable dealing with all those people who have been infected. But how can you not be in an absolute state of panic and fear, which would reduce the immune system even much more? And then if they have those underlying other illnesses, coronavirus would just be enough to push them over the edge and they die. So let's be calm. Let's do our inner work. Let's, be reasonable. Do what we can every day. Maybe they're little things, but I believe they're important things. Let's get to know those wild herbs again, and the importance of water and clean air. Maybe we need to really rethink how we're living. Most of the people affected by coronavirus are living in big cities, and maybe that's just not a very sustainable way to live. Maybe we need to find ways of living a more simple life and going back more towards nature. Be more self-reliant, own less, want to possess less, achieve less. And so we're not in this hamster wheel like a rat going round and round and round, being stressed, being vulnerable, and most likely being not very happy and fulfilled. So lots of love to all of you. Be well, be safe, and don't let this dark cloud of fear, suck you in. So lots of love, and if you're interested, have a look at this other video which I have just put on Vimeo about what I would do if I had cancer. It's all the same, it's all related, whether it's cancer or coronavirus or any other illness. There's many things I believe we can do, and they don't even cost anything. We feel very blessed that when we are near the mountains, we do have access to beautiful water. This is this little Fontana di Lungo Vita. So the spring of long life. It's said that the water comes from Monte Rosa, one of the highest mountains in the Alps, and it's beautiful. It's a little bit sweet, and yeah, we love it. So thank you Fontana di Lunga Vita, and thank you Monte Rosa, and thank you Mother Earth. Jamie and I have produced this book in 2009. It's taken 11 years, and I'm finally translating it into German. And then I should also translate it into French and Italian. So we are locked down, coronavirus, so it's good space and time to do this work. So hopefully it will be available in April. If you'd like to order a copy of the book Sacred Journey in English, and for more information, please visit my website dreamturu.com.